Hello, welcome to the Random Convos Over Coffee podcast. I'm Shaun Burkowski.
I'm Philip McCullough.
And today, since this is our first episode, figured we'll just go ahead and get this out of the way. We'll do our Marvel origin story, issue number 1. So just tell you a little bit about what we're doing, why we're doing this, and who we are. I guess I'll start. The reason I'm doing this is for the first, number one, I've always wanted to put some kind of a record out there for my kids. And I've got 3 kids, and so what I'd like to do is kind of express some of my stories, some of the things in my life journey, some of the things I've done, and in my career, mistakes I've made, and put it out there on a record so that they could look back one day and see some of the cool things that their dad did, or some of the goofy things that he did. But that's kind of my selfish reasoning for doing it. My unselfish reason for doing it is I just want to provide value for you, the person who's listening to this, taking time out of their day to hear what we have to say. My end goal is to provide you with some level of value so you can learn from some of the things that we've done, some of the mistakes that we've made, and some of the adventures along the way. That's my reasoning for doing this. Phil?
Fair enough. Mine was because I wanted to drink more coffee. Yeah. Nice. Actually, for years, same as you, Shaun, I've been considering something like a podcast, something to get more involved. Not always sure a direct reason, probably why it took us so long to kind of get this first one started, because both of us were in that same situation. Okay, we know we want to do something. Love the idea of having something to archive of my life for my children and their children and generations and stuff like that, and still just what to do, where to jump in. And so this was the perfect opportunity when we started talking about this one. Just, hey, what can we do that's random but still focused to both what we're trying to accomplish and what we can also do for the listener. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Good deal. So my name is Shaun Burkowski. I'm a third-generation graphic designer. I call myself a creative professional. What does that mean? That means I do print design, ads you see in magazines, video production, websites, pretty much anything creative. I've been doing that since I was about 15. I'm 42, so quite a while. And I enjoy it. And today I'm a marketing director, and that's kind of where I spend my focus. I've led creative teams in multi-billion-dollar companies, and I've helped mom and pop shops build brands that have gone on to become multi-million-dollar companies. I enjoy what I do, and yeah, that's enough about me.
Very good. I come from a variety background, I guess. Early on, I became fascinated with business. I just didn't nail that down to realize that was the central point. So I've always wanted to start this, do that. And through that process, I got a electronics degree, electrical engineering degree, studying specifically in electronics, and worked in as a troubleshooter for many years. And on the side, I did things such as photography and video work and working with different people. I've worked with Shaun and some of his companies in the past as well. And actually with some of the stuff that Shaun started up is how we originally met. I've worked in audio and live sound. I play music when I can and have enjoyed that part of the process as well. And then, been a full-time employee and also I've been full-time self-employed before. So my focus and goal, again, is to transition back into the, business that I can build, because I love solving problems for other companies and businesses. And so that's a big part of my focus now as I continue to move forward. And so again, I probably left things out. Shaun's always laughing at the different things I've done, because there's always something else like, well, I didn't know you did that and whatnot. But that's kind of where I'm today. I'm 47 and still figuring it out.
We all are, right? It's life
Very
is a
much.
journey. It's not a destination. So
Yeah.
no, I always like that. Always learning. Well, cool. Well, all right, guys. So we got that out of the way, and now we can get into the show here. So what we're going to kind of do, the format of the show, is we're just going to really kind of riff. Phil and I, the reason we started this is we would have these long, drawn-out conversations that we'd give each other a call and just talk about random things, and it would go on for an hour and a half. And it was great because we would see each other's insight. There was a lot of really good information, and we figured, you know what? Man, we wish we were recording this. So that's kind of what we're going to do here. So we're just going to riff on random conversations, hence the name Random Convos Over Coffee, which, Cheers. We'll get into the conversation. So the first topic I guess we were going to talk about, we had an interesting journey over the summer with cryptocurrency. And this will not be a crypto podcast. And for full disclosure, neither one of us are experts in anything we discuss. This is all random convos, and we're just kind of riffing. We're just two regular guys who have careers and professions that we do, but the things we're going to discuss may be in that profession, but most of the time it's not going to be. This is one of those cases. So over the summer, I had my first experience with crypto as far as purchasing and being actively engaged in it. And so we're just going to kind of talk a little bit about that. Is that cool with you, Phil?
Very much.
Awesome. So I guess I'll start it off, and feel free to interject anytime. But over the summer, I've always wanted to get into crypto, and I missed out because back in, so I guess it was early 2009, 2010, I missed the opportunity. And I knew Bitcoin existed. I'd heard the buzzwords. I'd heard all the information about it, and I really wanted to get into it, but I didn't know anything about it because there was no easy on-ramp. There was no easy access. There's no app on your phone. There's no way to, unless you knew some guy in a back alley and you were trading fiat cash for some, at that time they had the metal Bitcoins. Yeah, you didn't know what you were doing. You just heard that people were buying illicit drugs or guns or other illegal activities using this currency, but you didn't really know anything about it. Fast forward, many years, I decided I wanted to get into crypto this year. Actually, this year, 2021. So over the summer, I started thinking about which one was I going to buy, and I think I made a decision that I was going to do either Bitcoin or Ethereum, and I made the decision to purchase Ethereum based on two factors. Number one was Ethereum was super hot with NFTs, non-fungible tokens. If you don't know what that is, I'm not going to explain it right now. You're going to have to go on Google and look up a couple of videos on what an NFT is. But the NFT space was basically a digital asset. So think of it like a digital photograph or a painting or creation that you could purchase online, which is a digital asset. If you play FIFA and you buy a character, a player for your Ultimate Team, that's essentially an NFT. Except you don't actually own it, you're just purchasing it from EA to use it in your game.
More of a licensed product instead of actually a purchase to own.
Correct, like a digital asset, a digital asset. And so when I heard that, I heard rumors that Disney was getting into it. They were going to start utilizing NFTs for some of their characters, Mickey Mouse and some of their IPs. And I thought, if Disney's getting into it, it's about to turn that curve. It's about to be commercialized. And once it becomes commercialized, it's going to reach mass adoption. Once it reaches mass adoption, the price is going to skyrocket. And so if I was going to get into it on a ground floor, it's now or never. And so I made the decision. I said, Bitcoin is essentially digital gold, and Ethereum is essentially digital silver, the second best thing. Bitcoin was super expensive and was kind of at a point where it wasn't pivoting, it wasn't growing as much as Ethereum. Also at the time, Ethereum, you could do things on the blockchain where I think Gary Vee actually he created this amazing product called VFriends where this is kind of corny looking drawings, but what they meant was that if you purchased this NFT drawing and you owned the asset, you had access to his digital conference. Once a year, you could go to a digital conference, hear him speak, other speakers, be involved in the community. And a ticket like that could easily be $1,500, $2,000, who knows? It's expensive, basically. So you had free access to that. Other NFTs, if you were to purchase them, you could get access to like gifts. He would send you gifts, or his physical access, physical things in the real world. And that's what turned the switch for me. It was like I didn't really understand the whole NFTs, but when I heard the digital asset would give you physical access, that was the unlock. That kind of made sense for me. And so I decided, Ethereum is, you could do that. You couldn't do this on the blockchain through Bitcoin. Bitcoin was you buy it, you hold it, you hope that it increases in value. But aside from that, you could purchase digital goods, but they didn't have the access to NFTs. Couldn't be built on that blockchain. So I decided I was going to purchase NFTs. That was my decision process.
Nice. So I struggled with it. I remember actually, I can't remember the year now. They were talking about it on This Week in Tech with Leo Laporte back in my early podcasting days. I mean, I remember him back from Tech TV and stuff like that, and showing my age a little bit. But always loved his shows, and he did more than just one, and so I would week long be listening to his different stuff. And I remember when Bitcoin first started to gain a little bit of a notoriety, obviously being tech based, they were talking about it right from the ground up. But again, it was one of those where on earth is this going? Kind of a thing. Is it going to last? The concept was clear, what they were trying to do with it. How they set it up so that it would become something like as close, I guess, as you can get to a digital version of gold. But obviously the difference is there's no physical asset. It's kind of like, streaming music on a license key versus buying the CD, and if I wanted to resell it, I could at least sell the CD, even though I don't own the license of the music.
Physical asset,
right?
Yeah.
But I have a physical something I could sell if I ever wanted to resell that item, and that's where the difference was in the beginning. Obviously, in the beginning, it was easier to get Bitcoin if you understood how to go about purchasing it. And obviously the buying power in the beginning was much different than it is now.
Very archaic.
I remember people were giving away, here I'll give you 1 Bitcoin, and people would get these things, and then 5 years later that Bitcoin was worth 15 grand all of a sudden, and stuff like that. And and we've all seen, anybody who's a gamer has seen the video game industry just shoot through the roof because everybody buying up all the graphics cards to be able to mine for Bitcoin, and those prices have gone so high they'll never come down again. And it's amazing to me, what people are paying for a graphics card these days. I mean, they're paying what I would have loved to pay for like a pro level card for editing and stuff like that versus gameplay. And they're dropping that without blinking an eye. Occasionally I considered it, but I in the beginning, there wasn't a whole lot of people accepting it. There wasn't a lot you could buy with it, like you were saying before.
Mass adoption.
Right. I see more people offering to accept Bitcoin and stuff now. You'll see it in physical products. You could probably buy a car with certain dealers with Bitcoin and stuff like that. Indeed. So
I joke because I drove down the street and there's a gas station by our house.
Nice.
And there's a flag that's sticking out of the ground outside of this little hole in the wall gas station, and it says "Buy Bitcoin here."
Oh, buy it here. Okay. I thought you were going to say they take Bitcoin.
No, they don't take Bitcoin.
They
might take Bitcoin. I don't know. I've never been there, but they had a flag in this gas station that says "Buy Bitcoin here." It was like it just screamed scam to me, but it was probably legit in some form or function. But it was hilarious.
Yeah,
to the point of mass adoption and people accepting. I mean, Tesla.
Right.
Look, Tesla, began accepting Bitcoin, and the price of Bitcoin shot up as a result of it. Right. As anything that Elon, tweets, it seems to become a meme and then affects the stock market to some degree, or in this facet, the cryptocurrencies. But like you said, being able to accept more things like Bitcoin, Ethereum, with the blockchain, that was another thing that with NFTs, it really kind of excited me. That unlock, that trying to get past that mental barrier of why the hell would people pay $26 million for a JPEG, essentially,
right,
that's going to sit on a digital, screen. I could take a screenshot and say it's mine, but you don't actually own it. And the thing is, the blockchain, which is essentially, think of it like a peer-to-peer network, that a program running on computers across the world, millions of computers, and they all own bits and pieces of the information that are on there that are backups of backups of backups that will never go away. That is the blockchain, essentially, in a nutshell, 10,000 foot overview. But when you're going to buy a house, for example, right now to buy a house, you got to sit down at a table with a bunch of people and sign pieces of paper and go through a middleman, pay that middleman a commission fee and fees, to be the intermediary between you and the person buying it. Imagine if you could go sit down at a table, or not even, if you could pull out your phone and say, I'm going to buy your house, and transfer the digital currency to the person. That transaction is recorded on the blockchain, and now you own that asset, that physical asset of your home or your car, and there's no intermediary, or there's no middleman. It's just me to you. I'm buying your product. and I give you the money, and I don't have to pay a third party. And that transaction is just as legitimate as the pink slip sitting in my car that says that I own that vehicle, that's registered with the MVA.
Right.
It's basically a piece of paper that validates my ownership of that property. Well, the blockchain, or these digital computer systems that are running all over the world, they have a record. It's essentially a record, a ledger, right? So if I purchase something from you, I then own that property, and the verification of that property is the record on the blockchain, is the record on that ledger. And that's pretty exciting to me. I know we weren't going to get into this as a tech podcast, but that's exciting to me. That was the unlock. That was the aha moment. I get it. I get what this is and the potential of it. And I think it was very difficult for me to, why the hell are people paying thousands of dollars or millions of dollars for JPEGs essentially?
Right.
Because it's the value, and I still get off in the weeds, and I still don't really understand, the whole Beeple thing. Where, for those who don't know, Beeple's a digital artist who sold a piece of an NFT for a record high number. What was it, 69 million? Something crazy,
something like that.
Some astronomical number.
Yeah.
And it is an interesting story behind it, and that's a whole another realm of art and how what makes a Mona Lisa worth what it is, or a Picasso, or what makes it worth what it is the value perception of perceived value. And so digital art can have the same perceived value because you own that, because you have a record that says I own this item on the blockchain. And so it's an interesting time that we live in, and I'm interested to see where it goes from here.
I still will say, from my perspective, I would rather be the artist who sold it at the $69 million first off.
Yep.
Just in case something in that crashes, tanks. Obviously, there's a good bit of speculation, just like there is in the art world. Will it hold its value? Will people still find this valuable and exciting, 10, 15, 20 years from now? Will it expand? And it might. It very well might take off, and it might blow away all the naysayers. It might become the way we do things. I mean, we all would raise a stink when CDs went away, because we had a physical product that we were buying that we could resell, or DVDs, all the way back to records. You name whatever it is. We're going from physical to digital, from reality to virtual, and you're paying for these things, but no fire cells if it's all digital anymore. It would be hard to unload. So when I look at it from an investment standpoint, that's where it's still an investment I don't understand, because there's a lot of speculation involved. And if you have right now it almost looks like you can't go wrong, but I don't want to say that, because you just can't put your finger on it. I mean, it's kind of like Tesla. I mean, Tesla was a fantastic hustle on getting a electric car to market and get it to the masses, and put such a value in people's eye on what this can be. And I think the marketing behind Tesla is really what has, and the energy to get this car to market has really been what's made that take off over any other electric car right now. Almost like, we'll go back even further, almost like the Blair Witch Project, a movie that was made on a cheap camera with some kids that went out in the woods, and what they did was hype the thing for a year online, all these stories and things, and so many people were sucked in before it was even released that they made a ton of money on that project, and it spawned in some side things for them, but just that getting people so excited and interested about it, that
it's the mystique, right?
They got to have it, they got to see it, they got to go, whatever it happens to be. And and I think we're probably still somewhat in that stage with the NFT space and whatnot as well.
For sure.
But again, I mean, it really could be something. So
yeah, it's like the price of Bitcoin. I mean, the price of Bitcoin right now currently is 58,000 and some change. This time last year, it was, well, I don't want to say this time last year, but last year a Bitcoin was at 15,000.
Right.
I mean, 15,000 to 57, 58,000 currently. And just a few weeks ago, it was at an all-time high at 69,000.
Right. Yeah.
It's just insane. I remember when Bitcoin started, and it was at $5. Then it was $15. Then it was $1,500.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh my God, this is crazy. And then it shot up to the moon. I kicked myself because I consider myself an early adapter. Technology. The first iPad came out, the first iPhone. Technology. I mean, I go purchase these things and I utilize them. I engage with them so I can see what I like, see what I don't like. And I didn't do it with Bitcoin. And I think it was just the difficulty of the on-ramp. I'm a tech guy, but I'm not that tech guy. Like so deep into it, I'm gonna pull up a terminal file and I'm gonna get into the coding and aspects of that. I can't do that. And that's kind of where it was when it started, which is if you were an early adapter to get into it, you made a millionaire. I mean, there's so many crypto millionaires out there, billionaires even. That got into it early, and I kicked myself for not doing it. And one of the funny things is back in the day, I was working at this job, and these two guys I worked with were talking about Bitcoin. And I knew what Bitcoin was, but they were talking about mining it. And I was like, mining it? What the hell are you talking about? They were talking about generating Bitcoin by using programs that they could run on their computer that would take up the CPU. And CPU, your processing power, was the value. And if your computer could utilize your processing power of your CPU to generate Bitcoins or go on blockchain, you would essentially get a reward of getting pieces of Bitcoin, fractions of Bitcoin until it equaled up to 1 or 2, and you could make money that way. Basically generating money. You're printing cash by utilizing the CPU processing power of your computer. And I was like, that's genius. How do you do that? And I was like, well, I don't know. There wasn't a whole lot of information out there. This is, pre-social media, and I'm sure Reddit forums were out there, but who really got into that stuff as deep as we are today. I kicked myself for not doing it then because I knew it was going to be value, a system of value. And I didn't do it. And so now, 2021, instead of 2009, there's a difference of value of that Bitcoin. And like I said, when I made the determination to get into it, you got two different, we talked about on-ramps. How do you access Bitcoin? How do you purchase it? It's no more back alley deals with guys who own it, who mined it, who are going to sell it to you. Nowadays, it's an app on your phone, and they're advertising it everywhere, from UFC fights to pre-roll on YouTube to your favorite Candy Crush app had scroll. There's access everywhere. It's become a buzzword, but we're not quite at that inflection point of mass adoption yet.
Yeah.
And so I said, okay, so I need to do this. You got to figure out which exchange you're going to use. An exchange is that market. Basically, you're going to go on an app, Crypto.com, Coinbase, Kraken, Gemini. There's a whole ton of them that are out there. You go on there, you put your credit card information or your bank information so that you can purchase, you can transfer your fiat currency, your physical cash from the bank to purchase Bitcoin or Ethereum or a number of any other cryptocurrency that's out there. You use an exchange to do that. So how do you pick that exchange? Because there's so many out there, and you hear stories of Coinbase just got hacked and some people lost their passwords, and you say security's an issue. It was frustrating. You might as well just put them all up on a wall and throw a dart at it and say, okay, I'm going to go with that one. You know what my decision was?
Well, I was going to ask, what made you pick the one you picked?
The user interface, just the way it looked. That was it. That was my one decision. There's two reasons. I digress. It was actually two reasons.
Okay.
It was the fees, because you got to pay a fee to use the service for them to purchase Bitcoin for you to do the transfer. There's fees, and then interface, the way it looks. So could you track 8 weeks, a year worth of the Bitcoin so you can see where the market's fluctuating, and how does it look? Well, Coinbase had a white background, and I didn't care for that. It's as petty as that. I'm going to be honest with you. I ended up going with one that had a user interface that I liked. That was it.
I was curious if you meant user interface, like how it graphically looked, or how you interacted with it.
Both.
Since
the menus, how you could access your information. I just picked one that I liked and was visually pleasing to me, and it had zero fees, so you could probably figure out which one it is at this point. But I just, but I decided to give it a shot. Yeah. It's funny. I'll tell you the story. The first week of buying crypto, and this is where we add value to the listeners. So if you're listening and you've made it 24 minutes in, here's where you're going to get your value.
As a listener, were you glued to your phone, like thinking, like, oh my goodness, I'm going to watch this for a whole week to see what happens to my money? I finally made a decision. I committed, and now I can't stop looking at my phone to see what this thing is doing. Was that your first week?
No, okay. It wasn't. It was close.
I'm impressed.
Actually, you're not wrong.
Okay,
but I'll tell you why I didn't look at it every 5 minutes. So, the first experience is you go through the decision process, right? You say, okay, I'm going to buy cryptocurrency. Which one am I going to buy? I made a decision. I'm going to buy Ether. Which marketplace am I going to go with? I made a decision. I signed up for the account. I did that. Now we got to get into the market, right? So you put the money into the account, which, by the way, is a whole process unto itself. So I pulled up the app and I say, okay, I'm going to buy some Ethereum. I put how much I'm going to buy, how much financially I'm going to invest in, and I just kind of dipped my toe in, and I said, okay, I'm going to put $160 in because it's going to give me 0.0625 of ETH or whatever it is. Put it in there, then they say, okay, then you got to put your card information. So you go to link your bank account in there. Well, that's a whole process. So you put it in there just like you're going to purchase something on Amazon, something on some website, Foot Locker, whatever. You put your information in there and you go ahead and hit purchase, buy ETH, and you get user declined by issuer. So your bank doesn't want you to buy cryptocurrency. They don't want you to take your money out of their fiat and put it into digital currency. They don't want you to do that. Credit card companies don't want you to do that. They want you to be tied to their system of currency for one of two things. One, they don't want you to take your money out of that financial institution. The other part is there's fraud, and that's valid. Mm-hmm. So people are stealing credit cards, and they're buying cryptocurrency with stolen credit cards. And so in order to actually fully go through with that transaction, I had to get on the phone with the bank. I had to wait on hold for 20 minutes to get somebody on the bank. And then I said, I'm trying to purchase, crypto through this website, through this app. And they had to go through the process online. And then they go and unlock it. And they go, okay, go ahead and do it now. And you can do it on your phone. And you go, great, the price just went up $5 while I'm waiting on the phone for 20 minutes. Thanks a lot, pal. And then the transaction finally goes through. You got to do that every time, Phil. Every time you go to buy crypto, it gets declined by the issuer.
Okay.
So I have to get on the phone and I got to call my bank and I got to talk to somebody and wait on hold and then go through. So I can't just pull up my phone and hit buy and it be done. So if you're trying to time the market and get it at a certain price and then hit that button, you can't do it. Because you got to go through these hoops and things. Because that's just where we are right now.
So what you're saying is there's a business opportunity to be the bank for cryptocurrency.
Potentially, and there probably is. Maybe right. SoFi or something that's out there currently. It might be a little bit easier.
Put your money in an account that's just there to be able to buy and sell crypto.
Yeah. Indeed. And it will make it a lot easier. Then they have some other opportunities on there. So the app that I'm using, you can do an ACH transfer or a wire transfer, but it takes 5 to 7 business days. So you're going to wire your money. You got to wait till it gets in there. Then it deposits into the account, and you can use that anytime you want to buy it. But you had to wait a week to do that. Yeah. And there's a minimum that's like $5,000. Yeah. So you can't just dabble into it. And so it was just frustrating. Then that was where I was. That was my first experience buying crypto. I made all the decisions. I went through the hoops of purchasing it. I bought in. I spent $160 on Ethereum to just dabble with, make sure, see how it works. The first day it goes down to $127. I'm not kidding. The first day. I mean, I'm watching it go up and up every day, and I say, okay, I'm going to buy Ethereum. It's on a run up, right? The first day I put $160, the value of my money drops to $127, and I'm staring at my phone. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. And I've been talking to my kids. My son, Tyler's been working all summer, and he's saving his money, and respect, because he didn't want to just go out and blow his money buying video games or spend his money on clothes, whatever. He wanted to invest it, and he says, "Dad, I want to invest my money. What should I do?" And I said, "Well, I'm talking about cryptocurrency and what I'm doing, and so I'm going to try this." And he wants to get into it. We were sitting by the pool, and I said, I remember when I was in high school, and I hated school with a passion. But one of my favorite teachers, ironically, was this I think it was social studies. I don't remember what the actual class was, but he was talking to us about Roth IRAs, and it got me thinking. He's like, when you turn 21, maybe it was 18. I think it was 21. 21, you put $2,000 a year into a Roth IRA account, and if you put $2,000 a year every year when you're 21, you will retire at 65 a millionaire because of compound interest. But if you started that same process at 30 instead of 21, or 25 instead of 21, you would not retire a millionaire. Not only that, you'd have like 25% less money at the end of the process because it's compound interest. So that every year that interest adds up and adds up and adds up. And then at the end of the process, you'd retire a millionaire. And I was like, that's really interesting. So that kind of got me on my process. I was explaining that to Tyler, and I like try to share the information with him. But I said, you don't have $2,000 right now. And if you wanted to invest, the cryptocurrency might be a way you can get some early gains because it's still early days. And I was kind of explaining it to him. The whole time I'm watching my phone and I'm watching the value go down. So moral of the story is, the cryptocurrency fluctuates. The value is going to go up. It's going to go down. It's going to do different things. Currently, I'm up 2 times my money. So the $160 I put in is now valued at $320, and that's awesome. And we're on all-time highs on Ethereum and all-time highs on cryptocurrency within the last 30 days. But it all fluctuates, and it's all going to change. At the end of the year, cryptocurrency, I think they're estimating it to be valued at around $144,000, which would be, if you're looking at Bitcoin as a form of gold and the value of what currently gold is valued at, the equivalent to cryptocurrency with Bitcoin would be about $144,000. Well, currently it's at 57. So if you buy in now, even though it's near an all-time high, there's still room to grow and still capitalize on your money. Right. And this is all speculative, right? So nothing's for sure, but we're exciting to know that you can put your money in.
We're not legal professionals. No, we're not accountants. We're not
at all.
Tax
Don't
attorneys.
Take this as advice.
We're not, anything like that. This is just our opinions.
Don't take our. Do your own research.
Do not go out and say, hey, we watched Phil and Shaun, and they said, hey, go put your money in this, and it didn't hit whatever the yield was. We are not experts, as we said clearly in the beginning of this podcast. Exactly. We'll state it again right now before Shaun gets us all in trouble. There's a whole other side to this too. If you do your, just for the general listener, if you're doing your investments and stuff, look into the tax liabilities and stuff as well. At some point when you hit, at 47, obviously I'm looking to see what my retirement strategies will be. My version of retirement, by the way, is not to stop working, but simply to be able to do the work I want to do when I want to do it, and for the clients that I want to do, so that I can, really pick and choose the projects that can make the biggest impact and really, be able to do the work that I love. But you want to be able to do that, obviously, with enough cash flow coming in that you can live. And if you have a family or kids or whatever, those are all important. Looking at the tax liabilities of, okay, I'm ready to retire. I've got money in the bank or money in my investments. How do I get money out without losing most of it, to the tax man is another side of this whole conversation, of course. And it's at some point, I know right now you're in the investing in stage, so you're not necessarily looking at, okay, I'm taking it out tomorrow. But that might even be another conversation at another time. Okay, what did you come up with, or what did you find as, again, not as a legal expert or a tax accountant or, or anything else, but simply just, have you found any strategies that allow you to withdraw it at a good profit without losing most of it to taxes. So, but anyway, I digress briefly on that and go from there. But yes,
no, you're absolutely right. It's risky. It's a risky. No matter what you do, if you're doing crypto or if you're doing even the stock market.
Well, it's any of it, right? Stock market, real estate. Real estate has a nice tax advantage if you continually invest in more real estate. And I believe if you do it correctly, the gains end up not being taxed. It's not like it has a different entity, but everything has, it has its challenges getting in. It can have its challenges getting out. Certainly understanding the market, or if it's the stocks, the business, the company you're investing in, you gotta know these things to have better odds. Again, it's anything can change. So there's no guarantees in any of this, but it's certainly interesting. I'm looking at investing on the side of investing in businesses, essentially through the stock market. So when I'm at the point of jumping into that, I'm just simply paper trading right now. So we'll track that on a later episode sometime too, and just see how we're both doing. So I have a feeling you'll probably be able to shoot up faster than I will in crypto, and as long as nothing drops out, I'm kind of curious to see how that goes. So
yeah, me too. I've since that first little dabble and just put the money in. I mean, you want to make sure two things when you're dealing with crypto and any of the exchanges, just to add value for the person who's listening. Yeah. You want to make sure that you can put money into the market and that you can get it back out. There's a lot of, I don't want to say scams, but there's things out there where you can invest money into systems where they take your money and turn it into digital assets, but you can't get it back out. Right. So if you, in the event that you need to, it's good to know that you can do that. And that's what I did. That was part of the test, right? Yeah. So you put money into an exchange. I bought a cryptocurrency. I sat on it for a while and I let it go up. And then I pulled it out to make sure that I could get it out. And when you do those things, there's a fees involved. There's exchange fees. It's not much. I mean, it's 3%, whatever. But you need to make sure that you can put your money in physically and you can get it out and get it back into your account. Yeah. There's a lot of exchanges out there. I think even PayPal has its own exchange now that you can purchase. And you got to be careful because there's also things like Robinhood where I don't know and don't maybe I shouldn't even be talking about this, but you can do investment into cryptocurrency where you don't physically own it. So that's different than actually buying the physical asset. The digital asset, right. Buying the asset. So cryptocurrency, if you're buying cryptocurrency, you can download that to something like a drive or a safe drive where you can physically download it, take it, and store it. You can wipe your computer, you can plug it back in, and you can re-upload that key, and then it's back into your exchange. And if you can't do that, you need to know how to do that, right, if you're going to mess with it. And so those on-ramps are becoming a lot easier than they were back in the day. Yeah. So when it first started, it was very difficult. There were not very many on-ramps. There's a lot more now. It's getting easier. It's still a little difficult. Like we talked about the bank issue, transferring funds, knowing how to do some of these things. The on-ramps are a lot easier today than they were back in 2007, 2009, but they still got a long way to go, which has stopped a lot of people from getting into the market, which still means that there's opportunities for people who are getting in as late investors like me, who still wants to get into the market if you so choose to.
Yeah, and security obviously being a big issue, no different than logging into your bank from home on your computer or having it on your phone or accidentally kicking your camera when you're talking. Try to remember not to do that again. But and the real thing I think for anybody is just learn as much as you can before you invest on something. You can even with cryptocurrency, you could always paper trade on your own, which is just tracking what it's doing, saying, hey, I invested X amount today, and check it, whatever you're going to normally check it at. But again, understanding what it is you're doing. No different than if you were to invest in a business or start a company or anything else, a school for your kids. You're going to want to make sure it's a good school. You're going to want to see, how are they educating and stuff like that. So certainly using good judgment and understanding the investment as best you can. Obviously, we've already talked about risk, and there's always going to be a certain level of risk. So there's no foolproof, hey, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to have complete success, and I'm going to retire rich and not have to worry about anything. Yeah, life doesn't have guarantees like that, but
be good if it did.
Yeah, it would. Sorry.
Always the goal is to put $1 in and get $4 back.
Always,
right? That's always the goal. Whether it's in business, I mean, if you're in marketing and advertising, that's the goal is your return on investment.
Right.
And same thing with retirement savings and being in the market like stocks, bonds, cryptocurrency. You want to put $1 in, you want to get $4 or $5 back. Yeah. You want to 4x your money, and it's not easy to do, and there's a reason for that. All these things are built on fragile systems that are all speculative and fluctuate, and some of them stocks are probably a little less risky if you know the company's going to do well, or you're dealing with a blue chip company, something like an Apple or an Exxon or energy savings.
And we've seen what speculation can do in the market, this year in 2021.
Oh yeah, meme stocks. You're talking about meme stocks, huh?
People just hyping the market, making moves, and watching money go sky high, well over value. It's great if you understand the company, the industry, the thing you're getting into, because you have to know when to get out. And you'll probably never pick the perfect peak to get out, but you need to know when to get out before it takes away everything you had. And obviously, I know people probably learned that the hard way this year, and probably a lot of people got pretty wealthy this year based off of speculation. So it was interesting to watch.
It was. It's been an interesting year. I mean, with just in general, COVID aside, it's just been an interesting year with with everything. It seems like unprecedented territory, no matter where you go.
Yes, very much.
Whether it's in digital and tech, in health. I mean, it's been an unprecedented year or two. I don't know what else to say about it.
Yeah. As we say, welcome to the new normal, right?
Exactly. What's normal?
I know. I told my kids that early 2020. They were home. I was still going out to work every day. Everybody else was home quarantined, and it was when are we going to get back to normal? And I said, well, it's going to be a new normal. It's going to be a new process when we get through this thing. And I said, the biggest thing is we just keep moving forward. We can't quit, can't stop, and and we'll get through it and get past it and figure out where to go next. So
indeed.
Yeah.
Well, Phil, I don't know. We thought we were going to get through a lot of topics this episode. We're 43 minutes deep into it currently. I know we're going to try to keep this to an hour, so maybe we just go ahead and wrap at this point.
It's probably good. I think it's winding down. So
yeah. Well, I hope you guys have enjoyed the episode. Some information hopefully was useful to you in some degree. Good luck to you if you decide to get into the market like I did, and
yeah, whatever you do.
Yeah, exactly. This was entertaining.
Very much. Yep. Enjoyed it, Shaun. Thanks so much.
All right, Phil.
Yep. Have a great week.
You too.
See ya.
Bye.